Sir, chief guest, sir. Chief guest, right? Dr. Prakash. Dr. Prakash.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Chief guest, arrived or not? Joined?
Joined, sir. Muthu Kumar.
Joined. Doctor, sir, welcome, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible clearly?
Yeah, yes, sir, audible, sir.
Fine.
Yes, it's audible. Good afternoon. So, Dr. Prakash will start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning to
Hello,
all
Dr.
Yes, sir. Good morning to one and all of you. On behalf of New Prince Sri Bhavani College of Engineering and Technology, I welcome you all of to the webinar on accelerator incubation opportunity for students and faculty early stage entrepreneurs. I welcome our chairman, vice chairman, director, principal, all HODs, faculty members, and my dear students for this webinar. I welcome our chief guest, Dr. S. Muthukumar, Associate Professor at Build Tech, Multitech, Dr. Nagaraj, Dr. Sakuntala Engineering College, Chennai, and Associate Professor Mechanical to give the introduction about the chief guest.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. Now I introduce our chief guest, Dr. S. Muthukumar, Associate Professor, Weldtech Multitech Engineering College. He has strong experience in teaching methodology, learning style, and teaching and learning outcomes and assessment. Continuously identifying the learning style and technical methodology. Specialized learning in all aspects of academic role, including learning and teaching, management and leadership in research intensive institutes. Research area, beer behavioral composite materials such as MMCS, green composite and non-composite, solid state processing and composites and surface engineering. Sir have more interest in curriculum design and have the more than 15 years of teaching experience. Thank you, sir.
Now, chief guest will give about the speech.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone joining here. I hope faculty members also joined here. Can I have a count on how many faculty members joined here?
So, nearly 8 to 10 faculty members are there, sir.
Yeah. Students?
Students nearly 20.
1915, sir. Students
Okay,
around
okay.
15, 5 to 6 faculties.
Okay, let me share my screen while I'm talking.
Okay, sir.
So, I hope my screen is visible to you all. Good afternoon to everyone who joined here for the interactive session here. As rightly introduced, I am from academic background. Myself, I would like to take this opportunity for meeting the students community as well as faculty in the name of entrepreneurs. So how do you want to take my profile in my point of view is based upon my qualifications and my experience. So myself, I'm holding associate professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering in Welltech Multitech Engineering College near Avadi. My domain is design. I strongly have skills in computer-aided design, simulation, analysis, and with that I have done my PhD related to manufacturing. It is additive manufacturing and metal matrix composite based research work I have done. And further, I am into new product development and attending of any forum that is enabling me to interact with the young budding engineers in the name of entrepreneurship development. So in this forum, I hope both faculty members and students are together. So my presentation will be directing both of them, but I will take more to a student point of view. Before we begin, let us give a snapshot on how engineers are treated in our society, or graduates who are just passing out from an institute, mostly from the engineering colleges and technological institutions in our country. So recently NASCOM has estimated that out of the 90% graduates become unemployable, and who get a training also as an engineer, and they become later after their internships or initial probation period again become searching for the employment. So why this happens is the toppers are being hired by the MNC, bigger companies are after these people, because brain draining is happening all over the world. Maybe IIT, IIM or any kind of best institutions, they search for the toppers, make use of them. So what happens to the remaining people? Do they really get what they wanted? They are all left out, or trying out for another opportunity which is in a lower grade. So this is a fact according to our country. That means we are not getting enough high grade salary as we are aspiring. So my outline of presentation will be on this today's entrepreneurs, how they want to be. Then I'll also get you for some of the startup related basics like company classifications. And since our theme is around acceleration and incubation, I'll try to give a definition point of view and what are all the services they provide. What is the difference between these two terms, and what are the opportunities that are available for today's engineers. How we want to take forward is already told by many of the legends. Let us see one by one. Yeah, you know him by his name. I'll read out their quotes and afterwards I'll summarize my point of views. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else. Meaning, everyone should try to take their own spaces. And you know him, Jeff Bezos. Taking risk is a preference. You want to be inventive, you have to be willing to fail. That means take risk at all costs. More. This is an interesting person here, Chris Hadfield. Risk is everywhere. If you want to do a new business, whether it is starting new business, or if you leave out from your home, or getting married, or as per his profession, which is flying in space. Chris Hadfield has had many space missions, so he knows what is a real-time risk is. So he has all commented in a very funny way, like everywhere it is risky. We know this person, Ratan Tata. He is running a lot of steel industries, right? But he says, if iron wants to be get destroyed, it is only by its own rust. That means whatever we have as impurities in our mind will destroy us. So likewise, no one can destroy a person, but its own mindset. He's talking about a strong mindset or willingness to take risk. So why I've chosen all these people is these are all the popular quotes who, which make a person to get motivated towards entrepreneurial skills. Let us see some Indian examples, pure Indian examples. This person is co-founder of Ola. If you read out the statement, go out and start up. Means don't wait for any opportunities. It is time, means it is time. It is the hardest thing to do, but you have to do it. For me, it was very hard. He himself felt it like that. When I started, my parents thought I am going to become a travel agent. It was very hard to convince them that I was not. This is a very similar story for many of the entrepreneurs, that even their family, friends, or whoever they are, people very nearest to them, they will not believe that this person is going to take such a huge risk. But the after effects or outcomes are very, very beautiful. That's what they tell. Another example, we know Flipkart. So these two person, they were venturing into
Hello.
this online. Yeah. The core of any business is to earn money. You have not done your job well until you find a stranger who is willing to open his or her wallet to give you money for the service or products that you are offering. So this is a very clear statement about how you want to make yourself stand in the particular domain. That customer belief should come on your side. That is the kind of work we want to put in, right? So I like to highlight the first sentence here. The core of any business is earn to money, and with that I am going to take this point to the definition of a company. Like you are opening a new company, or you are going to start a company with somebody else. So company is a entity, as you know. It's having a meaning that it is an association or group, or any person who single-handedly carry out business activity. And again, it is money oriented, right? Those who read about the management, they all study the money or the financial point of view only. The business with a view to earn profit, not only just earning money. More than what you invest, you must get back. And this is only possible if you take a risk in the initial point of view. Obviously, there is a risk in every kind of thing. And one more thing we want to understand about company, it is an artificial person. Like you can say about a company like Google or Tesla or something, it is there existing like an artificial person. It is established by law, and it can be also dissolved by law. So it comes under the purview of a ordinary human who is able to be sued in court for some reason, or it can be taken some responsibility. So mainly it is an association of persons. Single-handedly, no company will exist for a long time. At least some people are required. Association of the persons, like the suppliers or the customers, that is association of person is there. There is also a legal guidance available. So what we should understand is, when you are thinking about a company, there is a statutory point of view, as well as lot of rules and regulations have to be followed, like the labor law and the tax levy, everything. So keeping in everything in mind, only one can run the company. So how do you get a definition of a company, similarly there are different varieties of the company. Based upon the formations, we can say it is chartered company, registered company, or statutory company. So this may be coming by the need, why we want to form such a company, likewise may be there. And according to the liability of members, it may be limited liability or unlimited liability or limited by share. And as we popularly know, the membership pattern gives you a private limited, a one-person company, which is very common these days for software kind of ventures. There may be small businesses, small companies, public limited companies, listed companies, as well as unlisted companies. So memberships vary in this category. And fourth, on the basis of liability, like how much you are having the share of liabilities. It may be holding company, a subsidiary company, or entirely a government run company. So who is liable for the actions of the company? It is termed by these classifications. And last, by the place where it is registered, it may be in India or out of India. So we may say it is a foreign company or Indian company. So when you go for naming a company, all these classifications will have to be covered. Mostly when you are starting it as a company, it has to be a registered company according to the formation of company as a private company. It will be mostly limited by share, because your partners may want to get you some share, and the share limitation is 51% for the majority of the person who is able to take up the company later on. So there is a 51% ceiling on that. So as we already told, it may be private or it may be one person or very small entity. Most of the companies are subsidiary or holding, and we are talking about Indian companies here, not about running a company in foreign. Maybe foreign company can run a company here. Next, I want to talk about project. Before that, if you have any questions, you can interact with me in the middle. I'll pause here, or otherwise we can move on. Dr. Prakash?
Yes, sir. No queries, sir.
I hope no questions at this point. So why I wanted to pause at this moment is we are talking about working, and this kind of working is creating the work and let others work. That means you are not going to seek jobs like we already talked about MNCs who are offering job for you. Instead, you stand out and you are going to think about a particular concept or a product, and you are going to do it on your own, and for that you may employ some persons under you. That means you become an employer, and the persons who are joining with you for working, they may become your employees. So the scenario is entirely changed. You take a upper hold and you are the boss. That kind of authority is vested to you. But the baseline is you are working on a project. Whoever you are going to think out in terms of the money invested, return on investment, how much time you have, how much human resource you have, and how you can effectively utilize them, where you are going to run, and how much of expenses are there. So if you think about a particular company in terms of small chunks of concepts or projects, it may have to be run. As we all know, this software are entirely running on the project basis. So when a project has been sanctioned to a company, they work on the project, deliver it, they bill it, they get the money, and this money is going to be utilized for giving salary for the employees, reinvesting on the further projects, and likewise a cycle of operations will go on. There is always a risk when you are doing this kind of thing. That means it is not a guaranteed job. In our country we say government job is very pakka job, right? People will try to get government job rather than a private job. Why? The job is guaranteed. You have a pack of money, irrespective of the working style you are doing. The same is the different when it comes to a private company. They will frequently assess you, yeah, and make you run for the money they are paying, right? So this scenario is completely going to change when you are running a job on your own. So my concept is to tell about the startups, right? Every startups is going to have an idea, like I am having a separate idea which I am going to implement according to my own willingness, like how much I want to invest, where I want to invest, what I want to give to customers, where I am building up my market. Everything is loosely based upon this idea, but mainly a product oriented. So when you have a definition of the product, a prototype at least, right? The prototype may be optional here, but when you have it in your mind, nobody can take it from you unless you declare it in the public. It is becoming a very common entity, like somebody is scribbling in a paper and becomes a very good song. Likewise, in our engineering mind, we may have an idea, we might have implemented in some point of view, like our projects or small competitions, technical symposiums and all, but an excellent idea which is able to be converted to a business is needed to be taken to this product definition point of view. I'll tell you intellectual property point of view later on. This prototyping is very, very important when we want to conceive as a feasible item, like physical item. Mostly I'm talking to people here belonging to mechanical engineering. I hope we are all able to conceive the product, see the product and feel the product, which whether IT people or computer science people or even I could say electronics or electrical engineers will not be able to feel much. So prototype is very, very particular to our mechanical domain, where you actually have a downscale model or the one-to-one scale model, which is going to be doing a sort of function. So this may be again an optional. Every project is loosely based upon this idea, and we may all think like we need to have a business plan with every kind of details, but when you have a right idea, there may be no requirement of a business plan. I will tell you why. Because the other things may be taken care automatically. So that's what our theme of our talk here. We are here to talk about incubation and acceleration. A person is having an idea, is going to meet somebody. The facilitation of those ideas may be in the form of incubations and accelerations, and later on there may be some suitable reward for them. We might have seen many cases like small companies are sold to their MNCs at very great cost, right? That is a very quick money. You need to have an idea, proper idea, particularly in terms of this. So when you start any company, there is a risk period we already discussed, right? This risk period is very, very short. When you have money invested it, the revenue what is coming will be initially negative. That's what mentioned here in the valley of death. That means when you cross this over a period of time, like 1 year or 2 year or even 3 year, for some companies it may take 5 year also, depends upon the product development. We may have funds during this period, but this will eventually get depleted, and after that your revenue has to start coming, and step by step you will have a growth. The early stage what we mentioned here is growth. Until that you have to put money from somebody. So there are different terms to describe it. Seed is a very common term which is given as initial amount for any business, and later on your associations with the other companies or partners may change, shares may change, so acquisitions may happen, mergers may happen, alliances like collaborations may also be there, right? uh, there may be uh, different kinds of development. Again, it will take too much of time. The early stage is about 3 years, means this will take another 5 or 6 years, and when you have a steady growth, your revenue will start increasing, and after some time, sometimes a total of 10 years and above, your revenue will be very very steady, because the product is matured or competitors have come too much into the scenario. uh, so you'll have to think about the exit and looking for the other opportunities. So it may be like public shares may be attracted. So secondary offerings, like you may sell off the company and you may give the authority to somebody else, take up a new venture. That's how the growth can be assured again. See, the middle part is very very important, where you gain rapidly a very good money in the form of revenue. That its profit is uptime. So there are different models. I'll give you my own sketch according to the different terms we have discussed just now. When a startup is initiated, in concept it is having some idea. At that point, your investment is maybe very very low, because you are not even investing for prototypes. Later, when you want to take any further uh, uh, values, like doing it in a startup company manner, growing, and during the expansions, your investments is almost according to your revenue cycle only. Thinking about the risk, the green line here, initially the risk is very huge. The risk may come down and it may not be felt after the growth and expansion period. So you are having a steady income, you feel very confident of your works. When we think about the sales, this is the number of items we want to sell during a particular period. When it is in the concept, there is no product at all. In the startup stage also, there is no product. Once it is sent to a market and market is picking up, you will have a huge market depending upon the requirements. So we can take up a practical example of this COVID pandemic. Whatever is the need that has to be quickly addressed to, like whatever is the requirement, customer requirement, has to be understood by the particular venture capitalists or investors. Quickly the things have to move, because the market may die down. Suppose you don't have any COVID scenario after 3 months, then it may be too late if you are thinking like I will decide about a company after 6 months. Yeah? So where your money will come is, you can see on the top. Initially grants may be there, your own pocket money may be there. Somebody may give you money in the form of seed money and later on take it for interest back. When you are venturing with the partners, the capitals may be merged, and the outside market can also get contributed. So this will show us where is our exactly our risk, where can you get the outcomes in terms of sales, right? The timeline is very clear here. This may have different kinds of slopes according to your business, but cash flow is very same for case to case. So let us understand these two terms, business incubation and business accelerators. So these are firms, okay? These are going to be like another companies only. They are agencies, right? Let me read out this statement here. An authorization or organization designed to accelerate the growth and success of entrepreneurial companies through an array of business support resources and services that could include physical space, capital, coaching, common services, and networking connections. Period. What else you want when you have an idea? Somebody is inviting you with the beauty of your idea that we will let you grow in our space. This incubation is very common term to growing small chickens, right? From egg we want to grow chicken. Then even for child care during a very early undergrowth child, there may be incubator needed in a child specialty hospitals. So these are the areas where special care is taken, that your idea is not getting destroyed, not getting wasted. So that idea is the only attraction. They may provide you a cubicle, they may provide you a capital on interest. At some cases, if the idea is very beautiful, very unique, you may get a grant also. Somebody who is expert in the particular domain may give you a personal coach, that is mentoring can be availed. Then common services like you can sit in a conference room, you can have meetings, you can have interaction with the other people, you can use those resources, right? If they have some workshops, if they have some internet facility or whatever is there. A co-working spaces are very common nowadays. If you have some money and you have an idea, you can go to another person's space and you work on your project. That's the kind of thing many people are doing. Now what we are thinking here as business incubations are the devoted services which have all these kinds of things. Physical space will be there, they will have proper money either on their own or from the government grant, number of domain specialists, common services will be available there. It is like a apartment already fully furnished where you can go and live your life, right? And all kind of network connections, like I need a very high speed connection, or I need a fax, or all kind of accessories. Probably everything will be there. Reading the second paragraph here, a business incubator's main goal, okay, what they are mainly interested is to produce successful firms. Firms here means companies. You want to make sure that particular idea is converted into a very good establishment that will leave the program financially viable and freestanding. So why do you want to use this term incubator? It will be understood by now. A person who wants to take a huge risk in the initial period may have fear of starting the business. Now these incubators or incubation agencies, they will warmly welcome these people, make them comfortable, make them confident until they have a grip on the particular project. And after some period like 2 years or 3 years, they are going to leave them on their own. It is like making a small bird or a offspring of a bird to learn from the parents. You might have seen some examples like over a big tree, bird may try to push the young and let it freely fly on its own, correct? That kind of a thing. But even like all kind of support will be there. It's like a parental care, right? So these are very old concepts only. What is new is this way of looking at this, right? How do you want to see this incubator? Already we have discussed about what is the main aim. Whoever wants to make this help as an incubator, what is their motive? Their aim is to do a service, correct? And they may be a company who helps new and startup companies. We will understand this term startup companies. New company means you have started a company and the startup has a certain period, maybe 2 to 3 years, or according to some definitions it may be under 10 years maximum, but usually it is 2 to 3 years It's a very fresh company where you are developing or providing services, right? So they give all this kind of facilities like management training, how you want to behave like a boss, how you have to deal with your employees, or how your office space should be there. An example is set up in those areas so that a person who goes out in the real places, when he buys a place on his own, a factory is set up, corporate office is set up, then he may have a real role model of what he has seen. So this is very entirely different situation. Many of the educational institutions now, renowned institutions like IIT, IIM, or the institutions who are long standing for 10 to 20 years, they have their own incubation facilities. Your college may have one in the future or near future, where your training may happen there. Usually we will think like only the MBA studying people, they will get some management training. It's not the case. Now engineers are very rich in our country, rich in this sense. Many numbers are there, but they are going to get either trained in your institution itself where you are studying, and then they become employers. They are not job seekers but job givers. That kind of a training is going to be there. This is in many motives it is done. One is the promotion of the industry and Skill India, Make in India, Atmanirbhar. In many names you can know. For the past 10 years it is growing like anything, and this awareness has to be there in our young students. I hope all of you students are in second year. This is the right time to know about this, because small skills whatever you need to learn in the third year or final year, it may help you to rightly decide and exit with some skills suitable for setting up of your own company. So incubation we have discussed. These are different from the parks, what we usually think as research parks, IT parks, because those are also workspaces. But these people are like mentoring and guiding people. When you think about an IT park or anything like that, they may provide you space like an apartment where you want to stay. Otherwise, it is not going to support in any other infrastructure wise, we can say. It is independent of occupations only. But when you go in a business incubators hub, wherein you see so many cubicles, they have a co-working space mostly, or cohorts. Like you study as a students together, you are also getting trained for your job skills, or your managerial skills, and your particularly the product skills together. So there may be a proper way of understanding the business at a very early stage. This is a dedication to the startups and very early companies. They are very entirely dedicated for the startups. Once the company starts and be there for 2-3 years, they already know what they wanted to know, how they wanted to set up the office space, or recruitments, or technology know-how, or product development, or meeting the client, getting the orders, getting the revenue, and reinvesting. Everything would be possible in the shorter cycle. So this is a very place where people can get. Now, when you are provided with an opportunity to accelerate faster, right? Accelerate faster. The same kind of thing, setups like what we are talking as, because in the name of incubators, they can be technology accelerators. We have to say it very exactly like technology accelerator. They want to promote a particular field of science or technology, which is becoming very important for our. Nowadays we can think about the biomedical or the medical care is very needed. So acceleration is required much in those fields where the nation's security or nation's growth, or even individual person's growth is depending upon such kind of an acceleration. So these are the fast kind of people. When you go to a training center, you ask whether it is regular or fast track. This is one such a difference only. So they have again mentorships, and they have training things, but they will take you very quickly to the product lineups. So the accelerators will do again a seeding. That is one another difference. That means they will provide you with enough money initially so that you may get it returned at a later stage when you are gaining revenue. For sure you are going to get revenues in the near future. So that kind of assurance may be there out of the project idea. So this is such a thing. So these are all only definition. We'll see in a larger manner how, with respect to different companies and different stages, these two terms are going to be different. So business incubation, we already know they support new companies or startup companies, like they have started and they're only 1 year or 2 year into the business. They don't know where they want to run the business because they don't have the means and provisions for it. But high level research is required before supporting or funding. They will test you enough for your skills, like how well you are confident and how well you are knowledged. So like a private investor, corporate or local eco development and academic, anybody can come in for a incubation. We are talking mostly here about the academic incubation, like we can see in IIT or IIM, there is an incubation cell where the students can learn and get it passed out. In corporate, when they start one more subsidiary company or a small entity company, they may start to incubate that company within themselves. They can try to train them. And in the case of private investors, somebody may give you money, give you advice also, being a subject expert. When we talk about local eco development, it may happen because of some driving factors, like you want to have environmental and sustainability factors. So it may again have some purpose. So as we already discussed, this organizational structure of business incubation is mainly between the organizations of economic development, government agencies, like we already discussed, colleges and universities, they can be incubation centers, or like we have discussed about private investors for profit, venture capitalists, VC, they may have some look into this incubation possibilities, or even trade associations like this NASCOM or or many other associations. They have this offering of services. Okay, wherever they offer these services, like provision of the spaces, provision of the mentorship, provision of all the kind of amenities. So it may come from right from the academic or even from the government or big companies. The services offered are quite the same. Here we are thinking about the basic financial management first, because how do you invest, how do you get back the money, these operations will be given a training. How do you market, and public relations assistance, and connection to the other similar businesses. You might have seen in many cases expos are done. We have in Chennai one place called Nandambakam Trade Center, wherein people on a particular domain like textile or defense or whoever wants to showcase their product lineup, they will put up the stall and clients will discuss with them. So in a case where these incubations are done, people will come to the places like academic or the private investors places and have discussions for the further growth in the business. It's mutual growth, mutual benefit for both of them. Of course, you have assistance, resources for conducting market research, and in our Indian scenario, if you take Startup India is the initiative what government has taken forward, and also the under the Ministry of Human Resource and under the Ministry of Small Businesses, many initiatives have been taken. So market researches can be done by the independent agencies, governments. They can be handed over to the people who need those data, because we might be thinking about a particular number of product demand, but it has to quickly reach to those people who want to make it as a viable product, right? So market research is given an assistance, like you may be given tools, or you may be given with the data itself, so that you can start deciding about your volume of production. And accounting books, yeah, legally, financially, many help is required. So in many scenarios, this kind of help is being taken up. In Chennai, we have Entrepreneurship Development Institute, EDI, so near Gindi, where we can have daily some show or some kind of a webinar going on regarding starting up new businesses, helping people to decide about new businesses and all. So they are also promoting this along with the MSME, so many activities, then even cash uh, vouchers, right? They may give you some fundings along with the company's requirements. Um, uh, Basically, they give a credibility to the company. This is the company which is being incubated, or they being trained by the particular agency, like the incubation agencies. That credential will give the other persons, like the suppliers or the customers, credibility, like they have been properly trained and we are reliable resources. And the last, they want to also help the company with some presentation. Why do you want to talk about the presentation? It is generally called as pitching, right? How do you want to put yourself in the best scenario? How do you want to best describe your business ambitions? Like we commonly say, it is a business plan. So these presentations will be crisp and clearly defined by them, so that they attract the investors as well as the customers in the later stage. How business incubation will take up is initially they will allow us inside that facilities. So facility support is given. Once they get accustomed to the place, then they may get network to the equals or the co-working spaces. Means they have another in another cubicle or another space near places, maybe in in some 10 seats space. Very good contact may be established, so that they may become a very good partners at the later stage. And support services are also offered to properly get marketed and uh, starting to run the business. And after a certain period, like 2 to 3 years, it is no support required. So that is what all the incubators wanted to do. But in case of the accelerators, you can see very clearly, not only they assist for this funding, their main ambition or aim, our funds may be utilized in very short periods and very few months itself, so that acceleration should happen in the business, because we cannot wait for 2 years, 3 years to get a particular product developed, because there is a need as well as there is an urgency in the market. So identification of those things will be done. So because the pressure will be there in the companies, so accelerators will give you seed money. That is the plus point, so that they can quickly invest and start doing something. and get it accelerated. Okay, when you have an accelerator in a vehicle, what does that mean? You want to go fast. So in a usual incubation scenario, it may be like as planned 2 to 3 years, but when it is needed, the same incubation facilities may provide you an acceleration, and they become accelerators. It depends upon from case to case how do you want to do it. And generally after 2 to 3 years, this uh, company will grow up on its own for sure. There is a risk inherently, but for this particular business accelerators, they are profit oriented, and they want to make sure, because of the acceleration in the business they are providing, the revenue is ensured, right? Because we already seen many cases like startups will be there, but these startups will fail to fire up. You know what is that? When we have not started it correctly and reached to the customer well within the time bound, maybe the market has died out. That is the main reason behind failure of many startups. We have to start the business, start getting the revenue, put the profit whatever we are getting in, and grow the business in a faster manner. So accelerators are in one such a way mechanisms to quickly get our goals, so that we will not worry about this down period. Like the valley of death is not a concern for the people who are growing in a very shorter period of time. So we have to think about these two terms, incubators as well as accelerators are there. Their pace of working with people is only the main difference, and the seeding is the next difference. So there are people who are incubators who can accelerate the programs. Accelerate the programs in the sense where the projects can be accelerated according to the credentials of the particular company. If they are eligible, they can be brought under the acceleration schemes. And there may be some accelerations taking place in the particular companies initially, but they need to be preserved for their business because they are not well trained up in the other aspects like financial and managerial skills. So a certain period of incubation may also be required. Particularly this spacing requirements may not be getting fulfilled after the accelerations. If it is only 6 months for acceleration, after the 6 months they cannot go and stand in the middle of the road. So incubation may be required. So it depends upon where you stand. So I want to see this particular transition from incubation to acceleration, or acceleration to incubation, in a way like you have some discovery or idea behind you. That is the very basic thing. Because of that only you got recognized for some incubation. After that only you are getting recognized for faster accelerations, faster growth. So this conceptualization stage is very common to both of them. But when you do it as an experimentation part, you learn it, standardize it, and make your company stand still for so much of time, then you have evolving the business propositions. So mind you, you must have a unique selling points. They call it to be USP. When you don't have this unique selling point, you cannot make a market. And this business proposition has to also get a evolving, because initially you may think like this is our proposition, but after 6 months the market may slightly change, or your knowledge may get changed. So there has to be a enrichment of your propositions, like how do you want to do the business, whether you want to do it in India alone or in the other countries also, only in Tamil Nadu or now all over the South India, or likewise you can think about all these things, do an experimentation. So for this you can take up the technical skills as well as market learning, market creation. You can do within the period of 2 to 3 years. But well before that you should have done basic research. Like you should be the boss of your concept. You must have known your best people who are able to do that job for you. And if it is a corporate run incubation, an internal hunting may be done, like whoever is very excellent in doing certain job, they may be brought into another lineup of the companies, like new companies, and they may be trained especially for that particular company. For external hunting, it may be like you can visit another person's company and may have a very good candidate seen upon. You may get purchased for some reason or even done that. So acceleration, as we have seen, it is very focus oriented, right? You want to have business standing on your own, but very faster responses. Commercialization point of view or realization point of view, it is very, very important. It may come earlier to incubation, as we have seen. So my roadmap to incubation is something like that. You have got some education. Look at this color wise. On the top you have the orange colors. Both we have awareness about the startups, incubation and accelerations. We also have a degree like a bachelor's degree, or somebody may go for a higher degree like master's degree in order to master out the concepts, right? Yeah, I'll quickly rush up in another 5 minutes. So after you incubate and accelerate, you can do it together. That means in the earlier picture, if you see, the funding can simultaneously put you chances for incubation as well as acceleration. The only thing of interest is going to be the selection point of view. Okay, but let us think about today's scenarios. Just think what you can do as an engineer. Chances are not limited by names. If you read out those things, anybody can do any kind of business. Business interest is very, very wide. We can only understand very few of them, or our interest may be there for design or for the manufacturing or the supply chain, being mechanical engineering here, but other people may do other kind of business also. Maybe engineering is our domain, and the next list you may have to go for any kind of research activity, or even you can do some kind of other activities also. Now, having spoken very well about these policies, the questions are there. Okay, I'll give you a clue for your questions. What are the government policies that promote the incubators, and whether private companies can act as an incubator? I'll leave this for a question session. And trend of the co-working spaces, how they are, and what the accelerators can do. What is the purpose of technology accelerators, why they are in the picture, process of acceleration and effectiveness, and what do you exactly mean by university acceleration or the institutional acceleration? For these questions I am now open for discussion. My time allotted is 1 hour. I think I have covered 55 minutes of it. Dr. Prakash, shall we open the questions now?
Yes, sir. Participant can now ask any questions. Anybody interested to ask questions?
So if you ask any questions, they put it in the chat box also.
Okay. Any questions, please put in the chat box.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, go on.
Hello.
Audible, audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Yes, ask.
You're audible.
Sir, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are the strategies adapted by a business incubator to attract startups as tenants?
Can you repeat the question once again?
What are the
Business
strategies
incubators?
adapted by the business incubator to attract startups as tenants?
Yeah, correct. Before I answer that question, I'll repeat whatever you told now. Is there any strategy with the incubation agencies to attract the people as companies? Am I correct, sir? Okay, I hope I have clearly heard you. I'll answer this question. Nice question. First, these incubators are agencies like universities, even colleges like our institutions, corporate institutions, or eco development centers. These are running behind one goal, like they want to promote people towards this starting up of a company and stabilizing it as a good company. Now they can give you many pitching decks. If you come across the term pitching deck, it is like a open competition space. Any knowledge person can go there and tell about their idea for the first time, or in a very rough manner, so that people don't get it uh, taken for themselves. So initially they will attract with some prize monies, like it is like it is a lottery like thing. If you have a very good idea, then you are awarded some lakhs and even crores, who knows. And if you go to startupindia.gov.in, that website, after you log in, you can see in India recognized number of incubations are around 700, to be 676 as on today. And if you think about the accelerators, they are around 400 people who are eligible to give you an acceleration kind of people. So those people are waiting with some money to give it to right hands. So this money is one kind of an attraction. Another thing is the people may get a chance for proving themselves that they are worth of doing some business. So people, especially mechanical engineering people, they will want risk. Like if they want some money as well as. So it is like a huge opportunity as well as huge achievement when you have won some incubation opportunity. So with both money and the accomplishment, satisfaction of accomplishment, anybody can lure you to get into incubation facility.
Thank
Did
you,
I answer
sir.
your question correctly, sir?
Yes, sir. You have answered the
Yeah.
students' question. Some of them have posted their question in chat also. How to measure
Yeah.
the growth of startup?
Can I see those questions for myself? Where is the chat box available?
Down, sir. Next to participant will be there.
Okay. No
So
issues.
how
You can
to
read it for
measure?
me, sir. You can read it
Yes,
for
sir.
me. Yep.
How to measure the growth of startup?
Okay. That is the question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a growth
Especially
of a startup. Uh, may I know who has asked the question? Faculty or student?
faculty, sir, student has asked
Okay.
how to measure the growth of the startup, especially in reference to under incubation process.
Yes. Yes. When you are into incubation, these people who are giving you space, kind of an advice, or all these things, they will appraise you like a company. When you are appointed in a company, the person who is giving money for you as a salary will not let you work on your own. After 3 months, there will be an appraisal. You will be asked to go for training. The people who are willing to get employment in the companies, they know this uh, thing. The same thing will happen in a company where you are being trained for a particular business. Every quarterly, you will have to again do the same kind of presentation. While you are joining, you have done some pitching or presentation. Now, what is the improvement in product you have done? What is the concept uh, realization you have done? That kind of uh, question will come. Then you will have to demonstrate with respect to some proof, like prototypes or the product development stages. You will have to certainly make them explained, otherwise you will not get funds. You may be getting 20 lakhs or even 1 crore as fund, but the stage by stage only this fund will come only after the satisfaction of the satisfactory improvement in the project levels and product development. People will start releasing it. Maybe they are assured for 2 years incubation, but since they are not doing any kind of an improvement, they may ask you to leave from the incubation, because this is an opportunity given to you. You are not utilized, so you may have to exit from the incubation spaces. So they will keep on tracking your progress. It is not like you can go enjoy that, but you have to very strive and look for opportunities. At least you are putting your own money. Nobody will give you initially money other than this awards and rewards. There was a scheme called the Nidhi Priyas. So in that we can get a initial grant, like 10 lakhs you can get. That 10 lakhs will be only obtained after certain period. It is money given to you, but it is only given to you after certain accomplishments.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
So thank you. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Well,
So I think you are given a wonderful explanation. So many questions are students are asking.
yep.
So you have to put it in. You have to send to your mail. You have to post your email ID, sir.
I can post
So we
my
will send
email
the
ID
questions
in
to
a
you.
moment. Yeah, I'll put it at the end of the slides. So my
Okay,
name,
okay.
you all know.
So so I will conclude now. So you are given a wonderful extraordinary explanation about all the incubation and acceleration. So we are clearly differentiating the incubation and the acceleration. So it's definitely very useful to our students. And the students always very keen to watch because you are given a lot of inputs towards that. Definitely, it's very good to us. Thank you very much. Being you are a background of design man, we have to explain all those things. Really very interesting, and thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you very
must
much, sir. Thank you
thank
very much.
you also. I must thank you for the
thank
opportunity
you. I
provided.
like.
You have my email ID here. This is my institutional email ID. Welltech Multitech is my organization. Those who want to post me questions, they can freely post it to me. I will be very happy to answer you. Even the questions which have come in the box, Prakash sir, I request you to post these questions to me in
Yes,
this
sir. I
mail
will
ID,
post
please.
the question, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you for your wonderful speech, sir. You have given a lot of ideas how to start the product ideas and then product definition, prototype, how to develop. It was very much useful to the third year and final year students. And what are the backfalls and the value of death, how much they will get initially struggled in the program, and it will give rise to after a certain stage, because usually people will develop initial itself with high profit, and but you have clearly explained about the value of death. Initially, we get lowered, and then after certain years, only we can able to develop around 5 to 6, so, which was very much useful. And your methodology also very much useful. The graph which you predicted the estimation also. So, okay, sir, very much thank you. You have answered all questions. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Finally, I like to thank the thank you, sir. And I wish to express my gratitude to our chairman, Guru K. Loganathan, vice chairman, Mr. L. Naveen Prasad, director and professor, Mr. A. Swaminathan, principal, Dr. T. Saravanan, for providing encouragement and support. And I'd like to thank my HOD Mechanical, and special thanks to uh, the faculties and my colleagues who have helped me to arrange such a wonderful program, this webinar. So special thanks to everyone. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My final line will be like never give up. People, you
Oh,
have to be very courageous. Yeah, I mean both the faculty members as well as students, because you are the supporters for the students to get into the incubations. Train them well. You also venture into, there are a lot of opportunities for even faculty members to get into the incubation as partners and even venture capitalists. Any question is welcome from my end. Thank you
okay,
very
sir.
much.
We
Thank
will
you for the
send through the
opportunity.
mail, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sir, HOD
Okay,
sir,
sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
we
Okay,
can
so
begin
we'll
the
then
program.